Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, online and in the house. Good morning.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more
than the earth and the stars and all of creation.
God is creator, all and all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you.
God is the love that heals all creation.
God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light.
Come on now.
God needs us to shine its light.
One more time.
And God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Use me, all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Day by day, day by day, oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day, oh, dear Lord, these things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly,
day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, to love thee more dearly, to follow thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, to love thee more dearly, to follow thee more nearly, day by day.
Day by day,
Day by day,
day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray:
things I pray,
to see thee more clearly,
day by day,
to love thee more dearly,
day by day,
to follow thee more nearly, day by day.
day by day, day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray: to see thee more clearly, to love thee more dearly, to follow thee more nearly, day by day. Day by day, by day.
Everybody knows this one.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I
Love
need.
is my source.
Love is my source.
Amen.
Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need.
Peace is my source.
Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I
Love
need.
is my source.
Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything
God is my
I need.
source.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God
we sing our opening song. Here we go.
There is a space in my heart where I can find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, even more good abounds. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now.
Come on, welcome to love.
Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
See with new eyes, allow it unfold, embrace and let go.
Trust the flow.
There's a freedom and love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart.
No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around. All that you feel, all that you know, let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Please be seated. Thank you so much. And good morning at home. We are here with you.
Good morning. Look at all these beautiful people here this morning. Give yourself a round of applause for just showing up today. All right. Welcome. My name is Tony Jenkins, and I proudly serve as a practitioner here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center that educates and engages the seeker on the spiritual path. As a member of the global movement, Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for the personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone. All right, so some of you kind of got that. Let's do that again. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. All right, so we are grateful for your presence here this morning, and we just want you to know you belong. All right, so we're going to move into the next portion of our service, And what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and stand, and we're going to do the call to service. Please join me as we say our call to service. How I choose to think creates my personal experience. Therefore, I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. Not only is this my right, it is my responsibility as a conscious being. I allow myself to be guided, used, and available for the reawakening of everyone's magnificence. The moment is now, and I say yes, and so it is.
Good morning, good morning. Hey, feeling good up in here today. Glad to see you all. So, hello, I am Jamel Morris, also known as Melodic, and I am a member of the Creative Arts team at SLCA, and I'm glad to meet your presence today. Yes. All right. Whether it is your first time, you are watching from home, or you're a member, SLCA is where you belong. I am excited to tell you about opportunities to connect, grow, serve, and give at our center. For more information about today's announcements, thank you. For more information about today's announcements, please take a moment to scan the QR codes found in front of you. If you all want, take out your phones. If you have iPhones, you can scan regularly. If you have Android, I think you may download a QR code app. We would like to thank each and every one of you that faithfully give to SLCA. To find ways to give, visit our digital program or see the information on the screen. We will do our grateful giving later in the service. Practitioners and SLCA board members, Baji Daniels, will be hosting a Tai Chi and walk in the park at 1 p.m. today. I think you guys should make it. Please consider joining us. We will meet at Mason Mill Park, which is less than 10 minutes from the center, so it's not far. Let's all join in. Reverend David Alexander is back with another exciting opportunity to grow. Beginning tomorrow evening, we will offer 5 pillars of spiritual life, both in person, right here, and via Zoom. If you find yourself stuck in the same routine and longing for something more, then this is the class for you. Reverend David will guide you through this 6-week journey where you will be offered manageable options for you to be able to begin incorporating powerful spiritual practice in your routine. And who doesn't like options? We all could use options in our life, especially Spiritual Living Center options. All non-accredited classes at SLCA are offered on a love offering basis. So be here this Monday. Sign up. SLCA Writers Club is back and is being facilitated by Kathy Ellis. This is a perfect time to connect with other writers and grow your creativity. Let's grow together. This opportunity will resume September 30th and be offered on a monthly basis. Next, Reverend Susan Zoller is bringing back Living the Science of Mind every Wednesday, starting at 7 p.m. Whether you've been in this teaching for years or just beginning your journey, this gathering is for you as we grow together, applying the teaching to our daily lives, and that's what it's about. This opportunity will be offered both in person, again, right here. Many things are opening here at the center, and via Zoom. Next, SLCA practitioner Catherine Willis, along with her husband Doug Daniels, will be hosting a great celebration of lives gathering on October the 23rd at their property in Douglasville. This past year has brought many challenges, and we know that we are stronger together. Join us for food, fellowship, and an opportunity to, again, connect with nature as we celebrate loved ones, pets, and friendships. To register for each of these opportunities, please visit our website at slca.com or scan the QR code in the lobby after service. If you would like to join the SLCA Universal Spirit Dance Troupe, auditions will be held following services on October the 3rd and the 10th. And this will be facilitated none other than Penny Shellman, right here. So all of you all with happy feet or just want to get grooving as we move into the holiday season, the fall and winter, let's do it together with Penny Shellman. Get your dances together. And this is a welcoming ensemble open to everyone. Please prepare an audition with a 30-second song of your choice. All right. Okay. Last, practitioners are available this morning for prayers after service, both in person and online chat. If you wish to receive affirmative prayer, online practitioners will provide their email so you can arrange a time. Prayer is great. Affirmative prayer is awesome. For in-person treatment, our practitioners will be found after service on both sides and at the back of the room. So get some prayer in. And thank you for joining us this morning. You all enjoy the service. Have a great one.
Thank you, Jamel, for those announcements. I'm sure we will all try to find ways to connect and join in. It is with great pleasure that I get to do the affirmative prayer for you at this time. So what I would like for everyone to do is just kind of sit up in your seats, kind of plant your feet, and just begin just focusing on your breath. Just do a nice, slow inhale and a nice, slow exhale. As I focus in on my breath, what I remember is that I am always connected to the one source, the one power, the one presence throughout the universe. It is as close as my breath, it is as close as my heartbeat, and it is always waiting for me to connect with it, waiting for me to allow it to spread throughout my entire being. Because this presence is not outside of us. This presence is within. This presence is the place in that secret place of your heart. And this is what I connect to right here, right now. How beautiful it is to just reside in its presence, knowing that peace is present. We are all well, good, and cared for. How beautiful it is to just take a moment just to relax into this and know that no matter where we are, no matter what is coming in front of us, we can always stop and check in with Source and know all is well and all is perfect. I'm so grateful for this ability, this beautiful practice that I can check in and say thank you. I'm so grateful for so many people who have led me on my path to learn how to do this. And the wonderful thing is each and every one of us can do this as well. This is our birthright. I'm so grateful for so many beautiful beings here at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta who help me to remember that on a daily basis. So thank you. Feel that goodness there. as we just know, we turn this over to the law, knowing that the law has already received this. It is already there. And so, if you are in agreement with this treatment, say it together with me. And so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know one day it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, oh, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving though the waters stay raging. And in this phase you can lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it change you, no way, no way. 'Cause sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know one day it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. One day, one day. It's gonna happen one day. One day. One day it all will change. Treat people the same. Stop with the violence. Stop with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like, oh, everybody stand up. I know you feel it. Oh, oh, oh. Everyone. more. I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. 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 All my life I've been waiting for, praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more, no more war, and our children will play one day.
Kokabooey. So rich. Thank you so much.
You better give it up again for Koku. Yes. Well, we could just go back into that for about 5 more minutes and then pass the basket, as they say in the old church. Amen. Beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. Y'all feeling that? Yes. Yes. Take a breath. One day. One day. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Good morning, family. Good to be with you all. It's good to be with everybody who's joining us on Facebook and on YouTube this morning. We've got people connecting from all over the country, you know, because you've been watching online as well. So we welcome everybody into this wonderful space this morning. I just want to take a quick moment, first and foremost, to thank Reverend Susan Zoller, who's been covering for me in my absence the last couple of weeks. Did an amazing job, powerful messages. Very, very grateful. And secondly, to let you know that tomorrow night, that class, 5 Pillars of a Spiritual Life, in case anybody want to know, well, what is that? I never heard of that before. The curriculum was originally written by our spiritual leader, Reverend Edward Vilhune, in Santa Rosa. And one day we were traveling together, and he said something to me about it, and I said, that sounds really interesting. He said, I'll send it to you. So he sent it to me. It was really old in a Word document, kind of real basic, and I said, I want to spruce it up. So I went into Canva, and I spruced it up, and I had so much fun, and I've been working my little tail off this last week to get it done on time, and this is it. So the 5 weeks, this is a lot of, now this is single page printed, but if you want to look at it, you can come up after the service and just take a peek. It's awesome. It's really great. I'm so impressed. The contents from Edward, the layout and design, and then of course I've added some things because I always do. But it's going to be a great, great class, either on Zoom or in person, whatever you prefer. And those of you here in the Atlanta area, of course, you can choose. One week you might be able to come, and the next week you might not be able to, and that'll work for us just fine. So we're looking forward to that. So please feel free to come up and take a peek if you want to, if you're curious. If I haven't sold you already and you still need some more convincing, come take a look at it and see what we're going to be doing. Finally, we enter this last Sunday of the month where we've been focusing on reaching higher. Now, I didn't know when I started the month that I would be preparing my mind and my meditation around this theme, that it was, I didn't know that it was for the St. Louis Cardinals, but apparently, see, there's only a few people who got that joke. St. Louis Cardinals who just went on a 15-game win streak. I promise I won't talk about it too much, but I might have to mention it once or twice this morning. They are reaching higher, and that's pretty awesome. It hasn't happened in 120 years, so gotta say something about it, right? All right. But in any case, we've been talking about reaching higher when we've been talking about this idea that there is something within us that is constantly reaching for the next greatest good of our life, both individually and collectively. And we've been examining the different ways to study that and to understand it. And today we're going to be looking at And Still I Rise. right? Which for me really hit home. The title, the idea, the Maya Angelou poem that it is based off of, and it really touched me this week because it was just the message that I needed. I know so many of you tell me after a Sunday message, oh, you were saying that, you wrote that just for me. How did you know? Do you live behind my couch? I've heard all kinds of interesting phrases over the years, like, have you tapped my phone? And this week I kind of feel like on the receiving end of that. I'm like, did they know when they wrote this, a year and a half ago, right? Because I had, as you know, been gone for a little bit, dealing with some things, from my grandmother's death to a dear friend and mentor to mine, Bishop Shelby Spong, Uncle Jack we called him. He's the uncle of one of our practitioners in our movement, who is a member of our center in Oregon. And so I had, some occasion over the years to have intimate time with him, dinner, and he would come through town and one-on-one, and he wrote letters to me. And the greatest moment that I had in that, and before I knew that connection, that he was an uncle of one of our practitioners, this is how I found out. It's like the coolest story ever. So one of our youth leaders in our movement had gone to our convention. Our organization has a convention every year, and the convention was in Miami that particular year. I don't remember what year it was. And I think we had just started the center I founded in Oregon, and so I didn't go that year. We were not at that time an affiliated church with the movement, so I said, I'm not going to go to the convention this year. Well, John Shelby Spong was the speaker at the dinner, and my youth director was receiving an award for her work in national camps and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, long story short, they were sitting together at the same dinner table at the banquet. She was sitting right, and so she texts me, oh, guess who I'm sitting next to? So of course I was insanely jealous. I was like, oh my God, I love that guy. I read everything, blah, blah, blah. And so they strike up a conversation, and he says, well, what center are you from? And she names the center, New Thought Center in Lake Oswego. And before she could finish Lake Oswego in Portland, Oregon, he interrupts her and he says, I know your church. He says, that's David Alexander. And she said, yeah. And he says, I listen to his messages all the time. Right? And I fell out and I said, well, first of all, how? Right? I don't even know that we were broadcasting online at that time. And so, long story short, turns out the practitioner, who is the nephew, or niece actually, of Jack Spong, was sending him my sermons, the CDs. And so he says, oh yeah, I listen to them all the time. I take notes, and anytime I would reference him, she would send it, So anyway, that's how we got connected, and isn't that cool? And number of great other stories over the years as well. So his passing and a number of other things that happened, all which led up to then me coming home, kind of feeling, I think I said in the video last week, my sciatica nerve or something went out, and the whole time I'm like, just don't drop grandma, don't drop grandma, don't drop, because I'm a pallbearer at the I'm like, it's rocky, bumpy land that getting to the, she didn't have a gravesite right next to the road in the cemetery. It was the one in the back. So I was like, all right, don't drop grandma. All right. She only weighed 89 pounds when she passed, so it wasn't too big of a challenge. But so it was all these things going on. And then before I get home, I get a message that there was a COVID outbreak at Williams School. And so we had to deal with all of that. And it was just a moment in the beginning of that week where, it was just exhaustion. It was just like, oh my God, no, I can't handle one more thing, right? Not one more thing. Ever been there? So it's like, and I think a lot of us have been there multiple times over the last 2 years, right? Where it's just like, I just can't do one more thing. And I got to this place where, because in addition to all this, some of you know, but not everybody knows, that back in August, the executive director for Centers for Spiritual Living resigned suddenly, and I'm the chair of the leadership council for our organization globally, so that put a lot of new pressures and responsibilities on me, and so I'm handling that and handling everything else. And so I got to this point where I started making phone calls, and I was like, this plate and this plate and this plate are all going to drop. I can't do it, right? It's not happening. I was feeling pretty good up until that moment where it was like, oh, I got this one spinning and that one spinning, and yes, I'm busy, and yes, it's crazy, but I got it all going. But when then a few personal things creep in, and then all of a sudden it's like, No. They're all going down. Every single one of them is going down. And I'm at peace with that. Right? That's the most important thing. It's not like they're all going down and you're running around with your head trying to figure it out. But you actually get to that point where you're making calls and you're like, I'm just giving you a warning. All the plates are going down. I'll be over here. Right? I'll be right here praying and meditating and probably just sleeping, to be honest with you. I'm just going to sleep for a few days and all the plates are going to fall. And yet, out of that, which is sometimes the exact appropriate thing that we need to do in the moment, there's something that still rises. There's something that still rises and says, get up and take the next step. Get up and do the next thing. And so that's what we're going to kind of explore a little bit today. We believe that spirit is the source of all life. We believe that the incarnation of spirit in humankind is complete, and that all people are incarnations of this one spirit. And every once in a while I get an email where somebody says, really? You mean these people too? Right? Because oneness is a really beautiful, sweet, romantic, spiritual idea. And some even say a heretical idea, because there are plenty of religions who, they talk about one God, but not one humanity all connected, and one spirit that's running through all of that. And I think I've said before, in college, I used to go to bookstores, particularly I love to go to bookstores at universities, bookstores and libraries, and find the books in the religious sections that were like the encyclopedias of cults. Two books I would look for, the Encyclopedia for Cults and the Encyclopedia for Religions, and of world religions. And I'd get both of them, and I'd go sit down at a table, and then I'd look through them in the index, and I'd see where New Thought was. Very rarely, unless it was a modern scholar who had really done their research, would we actually be in the world religions book, right? And then it was, is it unity? Is it religious science? Is it just New Age? Do they say New Thought? How, and so which one did they mention? Did they mention all of them? And how is it phrased, and accept the description? And then in the other book as well. And it was a fascinating study, and I would take notes. And often I would write down, because I was in classes at the time to be a practitioner and all these things. And, people would say, okay, you got to have your elevator speech. How would you describe our teaching to somebody who... And I found that the description in the cult book was really spot on. Right? Like I'm like, these guys got it down. There's no jargon. It's really short, summarized. And they're basically like, these people believe they're one with God. Right? Which I'm sitting there reading it going, uh-huh. Right? It's like, and the problem is, right? But that's their whole thing. Like, no, that's why it's bad, right? And I'm like, oh, no, I like that. That's good. So anyway, it's tempting right now to ask ourselves, well, that group too, right? And that group could be anybody right now. We got vaxxers and anti-vaxxers. We've got the political stuff. We've had so many different variations. And so continuing to embody this idea of oneness can be challenging. And yet there's something that rises within us that says, do the work and keep going in this. We believe in our individual ability to create a life that works for us through understanding our thoughts and our attitudes and our beliefs. We'll cover some of that in the 5 Pillars class Monday night. But we also believe, as Tony had us all do as our mission and our vision for the world, that we believe in a world that works for everyone, not just ourselves as individuals, but everyone. And it's that everyone that includes, yes, even those folks, where it gets a little sticky, right? Because applying it at the personal level and going, okay, great, we believe in a world that works for everyone. Let me not think about everyone right now. Let me just think about myself and apply it here. That's probably what most of us do most of the time in this teaching, because that's what we teach you to do, apply it to yourself. But every once in a while, you pop your head out like those little gophers, right? Come up out of the ground and look around and go, oh, all of those folks too. How is that coming together, right? Further, our Declaration of Principles says we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. how are we going to get there? We begin with the discovery of creative thought. We begin with this idea that we are surrounded by a creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon them. That, as Dr. Holmes says, there's a wonderful book, a little book called Living Without Fear, in which he says, there is an energy in thought, not because we wish it to be so, but because it is so. Definite and specific thinking draws this energy through our conscious desires and makes manifest these desires at the level, watch this, at the level of our comprehension of good. At the level of our comprehension. In other words, thought is creative, not because we put creativity into it, not because we do anything to it, but because thought is creative, period. Principle is just creative. And it moves through us, and specific thoughts tailored to a desire that we have will draw to us the very thing that we desire at the level. This is very important. People say, well, I did that affirmation, I did that prayer. How come I don't have the new car, or the new relationship, or the this or the that, and I didn't win the Powerball last week? Somebody else in New York did, right? Right? Somebody else had that thought, right? So what's that about, right? It draws to us the manifestation of our desire at the level of our comprehension. And so our work is not improving the thoughts, our work is improving the comprehension. It's increasing our comprehension of the good that we can have in our life. You follow what I'm saying? So we begin with understanding the power of our creative thought, and that leads us to how we include everyone else in that and what that might look like. Holmes says there's a powerful good, this powerful good rather, uses every part of my human experience, and the joyous and the challenging, the pleasure and the pain, to guide me into deeper awareness, knowing of itself as me. In God, nothing is wasted. All of my life experiences are used by the power of God, enabling me to help others and to bless the whole world. Again, this powerful good uses every part of my human experience. Somebody say every part. Every part of my human experience. The joyous and the challenging, the pleasure and the pain, to guide me into deeper awarenesses and knowingness of itself as me. In God, nothing, say nothing. Nothing is wasted. All of my life experiences are used by the power of good, enabling me to help others and bless the whole world. Now, one of the things I like to do when I'm reading a passage like that from Holmes or anybody else, but particularly if it's a New Thought author, is to look at the way in which it's structured as an individual statement, right? Holmes is often talking about himself or the universal individual self, and we chastise him in Foundations class for using the universal man for humanity, right? But he's talking to the everyday person, right? But I like to make it third person and talk about how it means everybody and the collective of society as well. Because if God is all there is and everything is connected, then it's not just every individual or me and mine, but it's actually we and us and all at the same time, right? So there's a powerful good that uses every part of our human experience, the joys and the challenges, right? I might add to it our collective pleasures and collective pain to guide us into deeper awarenesses and the knowingness of itself as us or as humanity. In God, nothing is wasted. All of our experiences are used by the power of good, enabling us to help others and to bless the whole world. All of our experiences. It's that right there. See, when you do this translation work, then you'll find the place. There it is. There's the part where I need to focus on how this applies to the universal level. All of our experiences are used by this power. And so there are kind of three lenses through which I want us to look at how all of our experiences are used by this power to bring greater good into our experience, greater arising of humanity and divinity within that humanity. The first aspect is today's title, Still I Rise. which speaks to that wonderful classic poem by Maya Angelou and the very unique cultural experience of African Americans from which she wrote it. But like all great particular things, there is a universal wisdom to be found in it, that there is a universal, infinite idea of the power and the presence within something to rise again. You literally passed by it as you walked in the door, because all of nature displays this all of the time, right? We pave the streets and the parking lots, but if we didn't maintain that, a little blade of grass would come up through that crack, right? A weed. Come on, somebody knows. God is resilient when you look at weeds, right? Ernest Holmes used to say, a weed is just a flower without a friend. Smart man, right? Weed is just a flower without a friend. And they're resilient, right? They'll pop up anywhere. If we don't keep maintaining and making the sidewalk or a driveway or whatever it is, the way which we want it to serve our needs, then Mother Nature will reclaim it, right? Slowly, naturally, steadily, consistently. Still I rise. Still I rise. I come up through the crack and presence myself. This thing that is soft and pliable and fragile in the midst of this harsh environment of conditions. Can you imagine how that translates for your own spiritual experience as well? There's something within you that still rises, even in the midst of challenging conditions, even in the midst of harsh circumstances. There's something that still comes through, and it always will, and it will never, ever leave you. It's eternal, and it can never be oppressed or suppressed eternally or lost. So I rise even in the midst of so much challenge of personal and collective pain. I rise even in the midst of all the stuff that's going on. There's a spirit in humanity that rises even in the midst of our fractured and disassociated relationships with each other in the human condition right now. There's something that still rises. Can you feel that? You don't have to have evidence for it. You don't even have to believe that it will ultimately win, because you might be overwhelmed by the conditions. You might be overwhelmed by the amount of concrete or the amount of pavement or the amount of whatever. But you just have to know that that one little sprig will come up and find its way through the crack. The dirt will settle and the water will come and something will burst forth. That's all you have to know. You might be like the St. Louis Cardinals. Right? That's my 2 limit. Is that my 2? Oh, then I'm going to really milk this one, right? Everybody else might have written you off, right? You're 12 games out of the NL Central title. You are not making it. San Diego and LA and everybody else on the West is going to get the second wild card seed. You are in the back. And you have to know I'm one of the most devout fans you will find. My whole lower level of my house, my bar and theater room is basically a shrine to the St. Louis Cardinals. It's actually a little bit too much even sometimes for me. I walk in and go, oh, well. And even mid-August, end of August, I was like, all right, I'm all in for the Braves this year. Let's see what happens. They got a good team, and see who else I'm going to like. And, they just didn't put it together, and that is what it is, and it's been disappointing. And then the reason I'm saying this is because nobody believed except for them. They had been saying, and I know this because I watch press conferences and all that kind of stuff, all season long when they're losing and losing series and staying below 500. If you don't know baseball, ask somebody what that means. And I'll wrap this up shortly because I know we don't come here to hear just sports metaphors. But all season long, right, in the press conferences, the coaches and even the players were saying, we're going to get hot. It's going to come together. We're going to have a win streak. They literally were saying that in June and July, before the All-Star break, after the All-Star break. We're going to get hot. The win streak is coming. Nobody, even me, the most devout fan you will find, believed them because there was no evidence for it There was one failure and one glitch and one thing after another, and the clock was ticking and the passage was getting narrower and narrower. And then suddenly, when everybody stopped paying attention, even in St. Louis, the fans stopped showing up. The ticket sales were extremely low at Busch Stadium. And they won one game, and then a second game, and then a second game, and 3 in a row. They swept whoever they were playing. I think the San Diego Padres, which was one of their challengers for the wild card spot. So, okay, that's impressive. You sweep. Haven't done a sweep in a long time. Okay, that's good. And 4 games, and 5 games, and then 6 games, and that's a second sweep. Okay, now two sweeps in a row in 6 games. Not bad. That's okay. That kind of turned things around. That's pretty impressive. Now they're playing the Milwaukee Brewers, who have a 10-game lead over them in that division for the title for 4 games. And they won the first one, and they won the second one, and they won the third one. And I don't even know where I think I'm up to 10 games now. I can't lost track. And I'm going to tell you something right now. They won that 10th game. They won the 3 out of the 4 of the Brewers in Milwaukee. And I said, you know what? That's pretty good. I'm darn satisfied right now. I'm impressed. And then that 4th game, they're down 5-0 in the 6th inning. Now you play this team 4 times. You're not going to win all 4 games. The whole idea in baseball is to win the series. If you play 3, win 2 out of the 3. If you play 4, win 3 out of the 4. Right? If you play 2, at least split it. If not, win both. That's the idea. And so I'm thinking, rest the catcher, get him out of the game. You're down 5-0. Get ready for Chicago. You're coming next. You're going to still finish strong. We're 10 in a row. And you won 3 out of 4. The division champions. All right. You know what they did? They kept everybody in, and they came back and won that game. Yeah. And so that was 11, and I was like, well, all right, 11. Not bad. I'm impressed. They haven't done that since 1982. That's 40 years. I heard somebody say the other day, I'm disappointed that 20 years ago is now 2001. Not the 80s or the 90s. 20 years ago. It's still this century. Hate to break it to you. All right. But you see my point. You see where I'm going with this. And they won again and again and again. 12th win, 13th win. They tied franchise a record, or I think 14th win was a franchise record from 1935. And the last night they won again after trailing in up to the 5th inning. They were trailing in the game in Chicago. Nobody has to believe that there is a power within you that can rise and overcome conditions. Nobody has to believe it except for you. You are the only one. You are the only one. Now, and it was just too good. I mean, I had to go there. It's perfect. Perfect. All right, the second one now. So first, still I rise. There's a power within us that rises. Second, pain is the portal to power. Now, this is one that we don't talk about a lot in New Thought. Pain is the portal to power. We tend to avoid pain and suffering. We tend to avoid it via spiritual bypass and forms of denial, and we try to sugarcoat the pain in our life and call it good and call it God, and even though it's true that it is all God, we sometimes use that as a spiritual crutch to avoid entering into the painful. Am I talking to anybody? You understand? We don't like this idea of pain is the portal to power. We would rather say it's all God and it's all meant for a greater good. But sometimes we got to go in and see it from the perspective of what is happening. We like to see the things as that are as other, as bad, and not really enter into them. We spend way too much time avoiding our pain, checking out, avoiding and distracting and spiritual bypassing and doing all of these exercises and things, shopping and scrolling and what do they call it, death scrolling, when you're just on Facebook or something and you're just, just right? Anybody know what I'm talking about? But when we transport ourselves out of our pain, out of discomfort, Hear what I'm saying? When we transport ourselves, meaning when we switch gears, when there's something present for us to look at that's painful, uncomfortable, and hear me not only individually here, but collectively. When we as a nation, how about this? When we as a nation have something that's painful or uncomfortable sitting in front of us, we tend to, both as individuals and collectively, because they're the same, transport ourselves out of it. We go shopping. Let's get the economy back. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's go over here. Let's distract. Let's code it with something. Let's call it something else. When we transport ourselves out of pain and discomfort, we miss all of the opportunity for transformation. We miss it. And then we go on a search for transformation. Because the residue of the painful thing that we refuse to look at still seeps in, and that residue builds up, and it tells us that we need to seek transformation in our lives. We want to transform our relationships or our finances or our health or our collective social state in terms of race relations or politics or the economy or good for our children or the education system, or pick a topic. It doesn't matter. The desire for transformation is there because it's the residual of what's left over from the pain that we refuse to look at. But when we miss the pain, we also miss all of the potential for transformation. We completely leapfrog it and leave it behind. And then we seek all kinds of other ways. Well, we can transform if we just do this and we just do that and we just do this. And it's like somebody who is, I use this metaphor a lot, it's like somebody who has a trail of, maybe you know somebody like this, who has a trail of bad relationships behind them. Don't nudge them. I know, they're not here. You know somebody like this, right? In your past, right? They've got a trail of bad relationships behind them, and they just keep going to the next one. And they just keep going to the next one. And they just keep going to the next one. And they just think it's going to get better because it's a new, improved version of the thing that they have refused to heal and look at. You understand what I'm talking about? But when you refuse to enter into those engagements, you miss all the power for transformation. Because everything that we need to become who we are meant to become is right here, right now, inside of this mess. Hear that. If it relates to you personally, or if you want, take it to the collective level of society. Everything that we need to become who we are meant to be is right here, right now, inside of this mess. Our political mess, our race relations mess, our education mess in terms of critical race theory and all that stuff, all of the messes. Say all the messes. All the messes. Your mess, her mess, his mess, their mess, our mess, all the messes. Every mess. Everything that we need to transform into who we are meant to be, individually and collectively, is right here inside the mess. But we miss it because we're afraid of the discomfort that the mess brings. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to confront it. We don't want to talk about what it means to embrace people who think differently than us, politically or socially. We don't want to look at the pain that is behind some of one of the things that really irritates me. Can I just talk freely for a minute? It just really irritates me. Is that spiritual people like to talk about, well, we just need to accept everybody. And you're like, well, that's a bad pet peeve for a minister, Rev. Right? I mean, this is not good. But what I mean is we get into this place where the discomfort shows up. And we've got people who think differently in terms of vaccinations or in terms of political or in terms of race relations or in terms of, again, pick the topic. The topic is not the point. The point is the different perspectives. And then we say, well, actually what we need to do is just have a space where everyone's welcome and we just accept everybody's differences. I'm actually going to say not all the time. I'm actually going to say, sometimes what we need to do is enter into the pain of that discomfort and figure out why somebody thinks so differently than us. What is operating behind it? Because sometimes the acceptance, and I'm a big person for acceptance, but sometimes the acceptance allows the wound to go unhealed. And if we allow the wound to go unhealed, and then we sugarcoat it with an acceptance of all people and different perspectives, and you feel what I'm saying here? What we enter into is actually a codependent relationship where I won't touch your wound if you don't touch my wound, and we'll all just love and accept each other and pretend that everything's okay, but under the surface, it's a hot mess, right? But nobody wants to talk about how it's a hot mess. Ministers don't want to talk about it because some people might leave, right? Your family doesn't want to talk about it because somebody might not get invited back, right? Or whatever the case may be. You don't want to talk about it at work because that would really cause a mess. You might not get promoted, or you might not get the corner office, or whatever the case is, right? But if we don't talk about it and there's pain underneath that, then we miss first and foremost, we miss all the opportunity for transformation. And secondly, we enter into codependent relationship where nothing really gets healed. We have all that we need to become the nation that we are meant to be. And it's inside of this hot mess called our disassociated and fractured understandings of where we are in terms of COVID and vaccinations, the January 6th insurrectionists, the MAGA Q reality TV show hot mess that we have found ourselves in. Everything that we need for our transformation is right there in the midst of those things. And those are just examples if we're willing to look at them. There's a beautiful spiritual wisdom that says, what if the thing that is in the way is the way? Right? What if the thing that's in the way is the way? What if the thing that we're trying to avoid and we're trying to say, but that needs to change, and if they would just get their head on straight, and if those people weren't in office, or what if all entering into the discomfort of figuring out what is underneath all of that is actually not just the way, but the only way, and that everything else is just a distraction and delay? I know that it's true for us collectively because I know the power of following that wisdom in my own individual life. That's the real rubber meets the road kind of kick in the pants, good news, bad news about this teaching, right? Well, I've discovered that my friends and colleagues don't really like the answers that I have for some of our collective problems because I'm applying the same principles that we use for our individual selves. Right? And I say, I know that's the way because that's how it works at the individual level. As long as I'm avoiding that which is uncomfortable, I can't transform. As long as I'm pretending that it's not there, I won't get very far, right? As long as I'm avoiding the thing that I think is in the way and making it about somebody else or something else, then I'm actually not engaged in the only way that can bring me true transformation and emancipation from discord of every nature. Wonderful author Glennon Doyle Melton says that pain is not a hot potato that we think it is, but a wise professor that travels door to door. And the wise ones say, come in, sit down, and tell me everything that I need to know. Pain is not the hot potato that we think it is. It's actually a wise professor. And traveling door to door, and the wise ones are those who say, come in, have a seat, and tell me everything that I need to know. What if we entered into that on a collective level? The third and the final piece of this today, so first is that still I rise, that there's an eternal presence that is ever rising up inside of us to meet every challenge and every need. Second is what I just talked about. that pain is the portal to power. And number 3 is nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. We know that there's a divine intelligence, a creative power back of all things that operates in, through, and as us in a most perfect and wonderful way. Nothing is wasted. All is used for good. In this context, then, as we face life's joys and life's challenges with equanimity, knowing that all of our experiences are used by Spirit in service to our greater unfoldment. That which was most devastating produces texture and uniqueness in our lives. That which is felt as unrenderable became the crucible that blasts away the small self and reveals the greater potential of who we are. that which we thought was unbearable ushers forth light that shines as you. Ernest Holmes says, when we take away the pain, what remains is light. When we take away the pain, what remains is light. And take away is not pretend that it's not there. It's the enter into it. It's the greet it. It's to see, because the pain is just the surface. It's just the thing that's trying to get your attention. Again, I know this is true, right? When I can't walk straight because of my sciatic nerve, right? I can take away the pain. Well, how can I do it? I can take medication. I can cover it up. I can pretend that it's not there. I can medicate until I don't feel it anymore. But does that heal it? No. It's only when I enter into it and say, why is this here? What else do I need to adjust about my physical being so that it might deliver the message that it needs to deliver, so that then I become whole and I step forward into greater health. So when we understand that nothing is wasted, we can enter into the pain and receive the message, because we understand that everything has a message for us. Take a breath. Nothing is wasted. So what I want to say to the people that have brought forward questions to me, and I don't pretend that today is the be-all, end-all answer to it. It's a continuous evolutionary unfoldment of answers in addressing this. But what I want to say to the questions of, well, what about this group, and what about that group, and what about the people who are just so, is nothing is wasted. There's actually a dynamic that's happening right now, that if I can be so bold to just call it what it is. There's a book by this name as well, because it's studying the statistics behind it. And it's all of this racism and agitation and upset that is happening in the political realm that is contributing to voter suppression laws and everything else that's occurring. All that stuff, right? I don't want to name it all because it's not the point of the sermon today, but all that stuff, you know what I'm talking about. All that stuff is actually working against the very people who vote the people in to do it. There's a book called Dying of Whiteness. And it's about how when we when we elect leaders who have positions and policies that go against our collective greater good, even the people who vote for those individuals suffer from those policies. In fact, not only do they, but they do so at a higher rate. Come on, talk to me, somebody. There are more people in poor rural areas in America that are white than there are people of color. And these voter suppression laws hurt them at a greater percentage, because what it does is in the inner cities where people of color are more highly concentrated, is it ticks off the social justice people, and they get organized, and they get buses, and they get people registered, and they figure it out. Now, there's still people that suffer in the rural parts and other parts of the community, but those that are suffering at a higher rate are actually the same people who voted for the politicians who put those things in place. I say all of that to say nothing is wasted. Everything is connected. And so this thing that we view sometimes as a polarization, that we have to get rid of this or get rid of that, or why those people, it's all connected. It all will fold back in on itself, and we will see where it's all going. We are all in this together. Am I making myself clear? What if what's in the way is the way? The pain, the hurt, the defensiveness are not the things to shake our fist at. They're the very things for us to embrace. Finally, I want to say that some of my friends right now in ministry are lamenting where we're at. COVID and whether we're coming back, and saying things like they're never coming back and the form of church is changing forever. But I tend to rest in the awareness and watching what's happening, and I say, right now we're at a crucible point. Humanity is deeply divided, and people are in a lot of pain on both sides. And what I know for sure is one of the ways to address and heal that pain is to have yourself engaged in spiritual community. So I might sound like the coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, okay, 3 times. In middle August with just a month to go in the season. But I'm going to tell you, that I think church, spiritual community is more relevant than it's ever been. Than it's ever been. I'm going to tell you that for sure. I'm going to tell you that humanity needs to know a message and hear a message that says you belong, and that there's a way to address the things that make us uncomfortable and to move through them with spiritual power. I'm going to tell you, as Maya Angelou did, that you may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like the air, I'll rise. Take a breath, and let's know together that there is a divine power right in the center of your being. It's beating the heartbeat that you feel, the breath that you take in, the atmosphere that you feel around you, the space that created this moment. You are wondrously and wonderfully made by a divine intelligence and creativity that is back of all things. The stars and the birds and the beautiful changing of colors of the leaves, all of nature reflects the divinity that is right within your very breath. And despite all appearances and experiences of obstacles and adversity, individually or collectively, the way of life is always rising, expanding, and evolving. Every part of your journey, every part of our journey, every part of humanity's journey, every part of our society's journey is useful and necessary for that which Spirit wishes to express in, through, and as each one of us. Nothing is wasted. All is God. And as you rise up into a life that works, into a day that works, into a week that works, you take it one step at a time, into a relationship that works, into a body that works. You bring all others up with you because we are all connected. And society begins to find its way out of that which seems to divide and polarize us into that which will only bring us forward together. A world that works for everyone and a life that sustains all of us and is moving in through and as all of us, even now and forevermore. And for this and more, I truly give thanks, knowing that it is done and knowing that we as a community celebrate that and amplify that through our song and our music and our education and our connection and all that we are together. And for that, I'm truly grateful and thankful. And so it is. Thank you all. Peace and blessings.
Wow, what a message. I mean, you started off talking about St. Louis Cardinals. You went to Maya Angelou, and then you connected it with that we need to lean into the pain. I don't know about you, but that is just powerful. Okay. So, at this time, we want to acknowledge our first-time visitors. If this is your first time at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, we invite you to stand so we may welcome you. Our ushers are handing out a card, and inside is a special note just for you. Please join a welcome ambassador for fellowship in the lobby following service. Thank you for choosing Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as part of your celebration today. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. Practitioners will be available on both sides of the back and over here to the sides. As we enter our time of grateful giving, we want to thank each of you that faithfully gives to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. It is because of your contributions that we can continue to spread our message of oneness. If you were inspired by this message today, please consider becoming a recurring pledger or give what is on your heart today. You can conveniently give on our website, or you can text to give at 404-800-9467. You may also give with a credit card using our digital program with the QR code on the back of the seat in front of you. All right. Our ushers will be walking through the aisle shortly to receive your cash for your check contributions. Please join me now as we move into our grateful giving at this time. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
That is so true. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. So where are you going this afternoon? I hear I'm going to Mason Mill. Grateful for this day, for the love we share. I'm going to Tai Chi today. We make, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. Please stand as yes, we envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world. We see a world that works for everyone. Yeah. We see a world that works for everyone. Have a great weekend, everybody. We hope you'll join us for Tai Chi. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Koku. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, media team. And thank you at home for tuning in. Join us tomorrow night for class with Reverend Dr. David.
Thank you, Penelope.
You're so welcome.
Yes,
Man. It's
thank
good
you,
to be
Penelope.
here, isn't it now?
Thank you for the music. It was beautiful.
All right. Thank you. Boom. It was wonderful. I know it. I was like, yeah. You knew that was a powerful song. So you can do that again on the 17th if you want. Yeah. Yeah. Be your powerful self. And here again. You heard it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. People stood, it was like an anthem. People stood right away. shoot a video. You can leave that on. Yeah, thank you. Just the stage, thank you. I don't have anybody for the 3rd now. Angel's gone, which is next week, and the 17th. Oh, do you and Chris want to do it, or did I book you already? You booked us for the end of the month. Well, you can do this 3rd if you want. Hey, Rick. Look at your little red muzzle, man. Thank you. Weren't they great?